It's 1994. You've been playing for 6 hours straight. Your eyes are burning, your thumbs are blistered, and you are one hit away from the final boss. You haven't breathed in 30 seconds. This is it. Then your foot nudges the console, or your mom trips over the cord, or the power flickers for just a microsecond. The screen goes black. No autosave. No continue from checkpoint. No cloud backup. 6 hours of your life didn't just end, they vanished. In 2026, we call that a game-breaking bug. In the 90s, we just called that Tuesday. Modern games are designed to make you feel like a hero, but there was a time when games were designed to be your enemy. They didn't want you to win. They wanted to break you. They were unfair. They were cryptic, and they were occasionally impossible. And yet, we kept coming back. This isn't about which console was best or which graphics were superior. It's about what gaming felt like when failure had real consequences, when you couldn't pause and Google the answer, and when finishing a game actually meant something. Here's what playing video games used to be, and why we refused to quit. Cartridges were fragile magic. Games came in plastic cartridges, heavy rectangles with a shiny label on the front and metal teeth on the bottom. You slid one into the console, pressed it down, hit power, and half the time, nothing. A black screen, a flicker, a frozen mess of glitched pixels. So you did what everyone did. You pulled the cartridge out and blew into it, hard, like you were trying to put out a candle. You wiped the contacts on your shirt, blew again, slid it back in at a different angle. If it still refused, you tried everything. Tilted the cartridge while it was running, wiggled it, smacked the side of the console. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. CDs weren't much kinder. One bad scratch and the game froze mid-level. People swore toothpaste could fix it. You'd rub it in circles, rinse it off, and pray. There were no patches, no updates, no day one fix. If the game didn't work, you fought with it until it did. Getting the game to load was the first boss fight. No saving meant everything was at stake. Most games didn't let you save. You played as far as you could, then you died, and everything vanished. Back to level 1, back to the title screen, back to 0. Some games gave you passwords, long strings of random letters and numbers you had to write down by hand. You scribbled them on notebook paper, homework margins, the inside cover of the manual, and you hoped you copied them right. One B that looked like an 8, one O that looked like a 0, and the password was useless. You entered it, pressed start, and the game just said, invalid, hours of progress, gone. That changed how you played. Every life mattered. Every mistake hurt. You memorized enemy patterns. You learned exactly how far you could jump. You played cautiously because there was no rewind button coming to save you. If you wanted to beat a game, you did it in one sitting, 2 hours, however long it took. Turn the console off, and it was over. You sat on the floor, eyes burning, hands cramped, refusing to stop until you reached the end. Progress was fragile. One switch, one power cut, and it all disappeared. Bad graphics, huge worlds. Characters were made of pixels, big blocky squares pretending to be faces and explosions. Backgrounds were flat, patterns repeated, but in your head, they were real. Sonic wasn't a blue blur of dots. He was pure speed. Streets of Rage wasn't colored rectangles punching. It was a grim, dangerous city. The box art did the work, detailed paintings of heroes and monsters that looked nothing like the actual game. You stared at that art before playing, then your brain filled in the gaps. The soundtracks were simple loops, 30 seconds repeating for hours. The Tetris theme, the Sonic title screen, Streets of Rage. You hummed them in the shower, tapped them on your desk, heard them as you fell asleep. The tech was limited, so your imagination did the heavy lifting. You met the game halfway. That's why those worlds still feel huge, even now. You figured it out, or stayed stuck. There were no walkthroughs in another tab, no YouTube tutorials, no subreddit to explain the puzzle you couldn't solve. If you were stuck, you stayed stuck. Days turned into weeks on the same level. You'd replay the same boss over and over, thinking, There has to be a way. So you went searching offline. You asked friends at school, how do you get past the lava level? Someone always knew something, or claimed they did. Cheat codes were sacred, whispered on playgrounds, written on scraps of paper and passed across desks. Up, down, down, left, right, A, start. Just knowing that sequence felt like belonging to a secret club. Some kids had a game genie, infinite lives, invincibility. It felt like cheating, because it was, and it was incredible. But most of the time, it was just you and the game. No hints, no mercy, just trial, error, and stubbornness. Here's what we don't talk about. Those games were designed for arcades, built to eat quarters. When they came home, nobody removed the cruelty. They just removed the coin slot. We were playing slot machines disguised as adventures, and we loved them anyway. Multiplayer meant elbows and trash talk. If you wanted to play with someone, they had to be there, in the room, right next to you. You sat on the floor together, sharing one screen, cables crossed, controllers tangled, knees almost touching. Fighting games turned living rooms into mini-tournaments. Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Tekken. Winner stayed on. Loser passed the controller. You saw their hands panic-mashing buttons, heard the curses when a last-second hit landed. Co-op was chaos. Contra, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Golden Axe. You argued over who got which character. You yelled when someone stole a health pickup. You laughed when you both fell into the same pit. There was no online matchmaking. Just your friends in person, reacting in real time. When someone finally beat the final boss, everyone cheered because you were all there for the struggle. Games didn't slow down because you were struggling. There was no story mode that kicked in if you failed too many times, no skip level, no difficulty slider, just another death and another try. You learned by dying, by missing the same jump 50 times, by fighting a boss until you knew every move. You either adapted or you quit. And when you finally beat that level that had been haunting you for days, it hit different. No achievements popped up, no trophy notification, just an ending screen and a huge wave of relief. Victory felt real because you had to earn it. Games today are bigger, smoother, and more forgiving. You can save anywhere, retry in seconds, look up any answer you want. It's easier, and in many ways, it's better. But something disappeared when games stopped fighting back. The frustration, the stubbornness, the ritual of blowing into cartridges, the stress of copying passwords, the thrill of finally beating something that truly felt impossible. Remember those 6 hours you lost when the power cut out? You know what you did the next day? You started over, and you beat it. Because back then, losing everything didn't make you quit. It made you hungry. Maybe those games broke us. Maybe we just refused to stay broken. Either way, we learned something screens can't teach anymore, that the best victories are the ones that almost didn't happen. Drop the game that broke you in the comments, the one you rage quit and still feel guilty about 20 years later. I want to know what level is still living rent-free in your head.